the horror wasp. Discovered in 2011. This monstrosity was officially discovered during an expedition to the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. The specimen in the picture is a male of the newly classified Megalara garuda species of wasp, named after the mythical half-man, half-bird warrior Garuda, the national symbol of Indonesia. It's also known as the king of wasps, warrior wasp, or the Komodo dragon of the wasp family, reaches 2.5 inches length, or the fact that its powerful jaws are so huge they wrap around its head while closed and are longer than the bug's legs while opened. All of that is definitely a huge part of this insect's horritude, but what really gets me is the fact that scientists speculate that the wasp evolved those powerful jaws to hold the females down while it does its dirty business to them. So, basically, it's a flying monster apist, the ninja frog, discovered in 2011. Take a look at this frog. Is it any different than every single frog you've ever seen? Does it make you rethink your preconceptions about the very idea of discovery? Do you even care? If you answered no to the previous questions, then congrats, you are not one of the researchers who have tested the DNA of the above frog and discovered that it's a totally new species, which lives in New York. Yes, it turns out that a totally new species of amphibians was hiding underneath our noses this entire time. It all started when a very bored, or possibly very crazy, person noticed that leopard frogs from around Staten Island and the Bronx had a sort of different croak than the rest of their brethren. A few tests later and voila, scientists were ready to call the little hopping bastard a new species. Currently they are studying the frogs further to properly name them, but, given their incredibly unlikely habitat in which they survived God knows how long, that or the new croaknicks, I haven't made up my mind. The micro chameleon, discovered in 2012. No, the picture you're seeing is neither photoshopped nor manipulated in any way. It is, however, adorable. The little reptile that could up there is a species of chameleon named Brookesia micra, and it was discovered on the island of Madagascar just this year. It is currently the smallest known chameleon in the world, measuring at just 0.63 inches without the tail, small enough to stand comfortably atop of a match head. Its small size is probably due to insular dwarfism, i.e. what happens when an animal reproduces in an environment with limited food or a large number of predators. Unfortunately, their most dangerous predator today might be that crafty Sanama gun known as man, who threatens the micro chameleon's habitat with illegal logging. I propose we save the species by starting an aggressive campaign that will popularize these reptiles as pets. We can keep them by the hundreds in huge terrariums, and pretend it's a real-life version of SimCity. The Yeti Crab, discovered in 2012. The Filipino island of Palawan is a beautiful place full of enchanting beaches and majestic animals, but to zoologists it's known simply as Jackpot. About half of all the species found on the island cannot be found anywhere else on the planet, including the above stylish crab. Scientific name Ensilamon palawanese. Obviously it has earned its place on the list by bearing a slight resemblance to the comic book supervillain Joker, but there were also other factors involved, like how we've just discovered the damned thing and it's already endangered due to mining projects going on at Palawan. I'm still undecided whether that's ironic or just really, really sad, maybe both. The crime-fighting gecko, discovered in 2011. While we're on the subject of newly discovered animals which sort of resemble comic book characters, aren't you tired of constantly hearing about those? Take a look at this newly discovered species of gecko from Vietnam. The Khmaspis psychedelic gecko, or psychedelic gecko, is currently found only on the small island of Hon Quai, and so named because of its bright orange coloration. But when you think psychedelic, do you think about sort of bright orange and dull, pastel purple? Of course not. And because the gecko's orange spots totally look like superhero gloves and boots, I still say my name for it is way better than what their so-called scientists came up with. I should do this animal naming thing professionally. Someone get me the number of the president of animal science. The stabbing shark discovered in 2011. This African dwarf saw shark, Priscophorus nankai, in picture was accidentally captured in a 1,600-foot-deep trawling net off the coast of Mozambique, bringing the total number of saw shark species worldwide to 7. Dear, I could have handled 6 of those monsters, but 7 is just wrong for some reason. Here's a funny thing about the shark. Due to its small size and aggressiveness, it's basically the Joe Pesci of the fish world. It usually hunts by blindly charging into schools of fish, stabbing a few at random with its sword nose, and then returning to feast on the casualties. Wait, did I say funny? I, of course, meant terrifying. The Yoda Bat discovered in 2009. This little guy is actually called a tube-nosed fruit bat, and he was discovered in the secluded forests of Papua New Guinea. The new species doesn't have a name yet, and it's unlikely that real scientists, that are, people who didn't piddle away their childhoods, adolescent years and adulthood obsessing over pop culture, will cave and actually name it the Yoda Bat. Seriously? Yoda was green, people. Come on. The Yeti Crab discovered in 2005. The Yeti Crab might possibly be one of the more complex crustaceans we've ever encountered. See, some scientists believe that the crab might actually farm certain types of bacteria on its hairy pincers and then either use them to detoxify dangerous minerals from the deep sea waters it inhabits, or eat them. That's right, we're possibly dealing with a scientifically inclined mutant member of a previously unremarkable species, which is also covered in hair. Basically, in keeping with the total nerd theme, we seem to be establishing here that this is the crab version of Beast from X-Men, the Matilda Viper discovered in 2010. This snake is one of the few new snake species discovered in Africa, Tanzania in this case, in the last 30 years, which is weird considering that it totally looks like a cartoon character. The yellow-green-black slithering bastard with 2 horns protruding from its head can grow up to 65 centimeters or bigger, and is believed to be venomous. But the weirdest part of this newly discovered animal is that it's been named after a 7-year-old girl named Matilda. No, thankfully the girl wasn't its first documented victim, but rather the daughter of one of the researchers who discovered their snake. I'd say that naming a scaly, slimy, horny snake after a small girl isn't really the best idea, but hey, the guy's already named his daughter Matilda. Not like he was Parent of the Year material anyway. The Michael Jackson monkey discovered in 2010. The Myanmar snub-nosed monkey, Rhinopithecus shriekeri, isn't totally a new species, as it's been known by some Myanmar locals for some time now, but unless it's discovered, climbed or invented by a white guy, it apparently doesn't count. Snub-nosed monkeys aren't exactly unknown to science, but apparently no species before ever came close to anything like Snubby over here. His nose is so snubbed it doesn't even deserve that name. The first contact on records that scientists had with the Myanmar snub-nosed monkey came from examining the skull and skin of a gutted male of the species, which was eaten by hunters. Unfortunately, the local demand for monkey meat is one of the main reasons why this newly discovered funky monkey is already considered endangered. It apparently tastes that good. And after evolution went to all that trouble to make it look as unappetizing as possible,